All right, welcome back. Gotta be kind of quiet, so I put the mic way up in my face right now. But we're gonna watch this video by Vice. It just came out. It's growing up with John Michael Basquiat. I love Basquiat. So he's an artist from New York. Died hella young. Um, Started off graffitiing. I'm sure most of you know who Basquiat is. I love learning about like what famous painters or just painters in general, what they went through from Rembrandt, Picasso, Van Gogh, just those big ones. Um, there's like a few art channels that I follow that they go through the history of like painters, but Vice usually they release some stuff like this from time to time. And this one's he puts a crown in all the things that he paints, a lot of things that he paints. So I'm assuming this is maybe it's a play on word or it's literally just telling us the meaning of what the crown meant. I've seen a few Basquiat videos before though, so I know a little bit about him.
There's like the Jean-Michel Basquiat, who is this
Basquiat,
profound painter and creator. And then there's Jean-Michel, our brother, Jean-Michel,
Jean
our
Michel.
parents' son.
Said John Michael.
I marvel at his genius and the creativity that he had. But then I really just kind of cherish those moments that we had and can't really.
I've definitely done one of my paintings had a lot of it was supposed to be like a nature abstract piece that I was gonna do, and it was like square blots that I was trying out, but I ended up putting bits and pieces of the backyard onto it and then drawing a painting the painting that I like painted for you guys. I That was a painting that I made inside of a painting. So kind of like how this video is formatted. Um so I made that painting first, but it definitely has a lot of like influence from Basquiat because he loves doing those like large strokes and then he'll like paint over it and have like little designs and
Really believe that this is the same
it's pretty
person.
fire.
My name is Lisanne Basquiat.
My name is Janine Harivo. We were there during the life and times of our brother, Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Sometimes I'm like why are these family members doing interviews? But like I'm sure they just want people to like know about their brother and like his life and people want to know, so that's why they're being interviewed. That's why I'm watching. That's why you're watching. But sometimes it does come off a little insincere from time to time. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Jean-Michel was born December 1960 in Park Slope, Brooklyn. Eventually, we ended up on 35th Street in the East Flatbush section of Brooklyn.
It was really a very old Brooklyn neighborhood where kids would play on the street and we'd play hopscotch and double dutch and the ice cream truck would come down.
As a child, I would describe Jean-Michel as curious, mischievous, playful, quite the prankster. So he would do things like leave bugs on our bed and make coffee and tell us to drink it, and it may not have coffee in it.
We were kids,
Had the
it was
Baja
summertime,
Blast.
and there was some kind of a block party or
That shit look like a Pollock in the back.
something happening. And there was watermelon on the table, and our mom was cutting the watermelon up. And so Jean-Michel says to me, he says, you should eat the watermelon seeds because if you eat them, then when you sweat, you'll sweat watermelon juice. And all you have to do is stick your tongue out and you'll be able to just like drink watermelon juice all the time. And my greedy behind, I did it. It was
That's
ridiculous.
genius.
So
Man, had a
we
different brain. Look
three
at that baby.
are the
Baby's so
children
cute.
of a Puerto Rican mother and a Haitian father. Our father came to this country when he was less than 20, and he used to tell the story that he came to this country with a toothbrush in his pocket and couldn't speak the language, and it was cold. And then our
Felt that.
mom was from Brooklyn and Puerto Rican. And so we grew up within the context of that and all that that meant in terms of what their dreams were for their family and for their children. one of the things that our mom did was she brought Jean Michel to the Brooklyn Museum to ensure that he got a membership card. And so he became a member at a very, very young age.
Jean
I think a lot of um I think a lot of people don't put enough into going and seeing like artistic things and seeing like historical sites and just really showing like their children that there's bigger things in the world other than theme parks. Cause no offense to my parents, like they took me, wherever they could, especially since my family was in the military, so we were like in bases all the time, and everyone was busy, so they took us when they could take us. But as kids, you kind of ask for these things like, I want to go to a theme park because that seems fun. I want to go to this park, this thing, like just fun things. And you can't really ask, like, you most kids won't outright ask like, oh, I want to see a museum. Like they don't know what they don't know. They don't know if they're interested in that because they haven't seen it. Like unless you put your children or a family member, like your younger brother, younger sister, in situations where their brain could say, okay, I like that, or I don't like that, or I want to know more about this. But until they're like put in those situations, how are they going to know that they can grow up to something bigger than just having fun, you know? Like life doesn't have to be fun all the time. And I know that sounds kind of like whack, like, oh, why wouldn't you want, life to be fun? But sometimes you got to struggle to live a better life. And I'm sure his parents, a lot of immigrant parents, my parents, they struggled and they just wanted the best for their children. But then you're like kids live this like life of not struggling as hard as your they struggled, so there becomes like a drift, and also their mind doesn't expand as much, right, until they get older and then they start doing things that they want to do. But at that point sometimes people get set in stone of how they've like been raised, and this is what I'm going to do, this is what I know, so that's what I'm going to be. But if you start off young, at least they can have a few branches that they could go and grow instead of just having two paths and they're like, well, that path sucks, I'm going to take this path.
Michel had difficulty
Just my
in
two
high
cents in
schools
the
because
matter.
he was one who just didn't really excel in kind of the traditional setting. And I think that his mind was genius like, and he was just bored. And so, because of that, he tended to get in trouble with his teachers because he couldn't stay focused.
Or right around the time that he turned 17 was when he actually left. Our father came from Haiti, where you are successful when you are a white collar attorney, doctor, accountant, or when you're in business. Just imagine being a teenager and telling
It's crazy. Like they're showing you like his earlier drawings and his earlier signings as Samos or Samo or however you want to say it. I find that a lot of artists they they do one thing and then they do it over and over and over and over again. And then different things that they experience in life influence that thing, but it's still the same thing at its core. And I feel like a lot of people that want to do art try to expand because there's so many things now, right? Like there's so many things that you can do and there's so many things that you can good at. It's hard to do one thing. And people are like, "Oh, I want to develop my own style, so I'm gonna take this from this and this and this and this." But you can like see like as a kid, this is the only thing he's drawn as a kid, and he's just expanded on it as an adult.
your Haitian parent.
But he would have known to draw this shit as a kid, or have like really thought about it that he could do stuff like this until he was, put in those situations.
That no, I'm not going to be a businessman like you envisioned for me. I'm going to go and do this other thing that's risky, that's never been done before. And so he went off to go and do that. So it was a very stressful, strained, and scary time for both of them. I realized that things were starting to unfold for Jean-Michel when I went to a show that he had at the Adina Nozay Gallery. He invited us all to this opening that he had, and it was like filled with the kind of thing that you would see on TV, where it was like a gallery and there were all these like beautiful people around. And it was then that I really started to recognize that he
Like a hella beautiful.
was really doing well and making this happen for himself.
It is a huge misconception
It's crazy how
that
young he was,
Jean-Michel
bro.
left home and
It's just
never saw us
crazy to me.
again. But Jean-Michel came back. He knew that he had to come back and let my dad know that he had made it, and which is
If you think about it, though, he started out as an adult at like 13 when he left. 13, 14. Like, that's when he became an adult and did his own thing. So he's been an adult for 7 years at this point when he was like 21,
which is
20.
what he did. He had a show.
Crazy.
He showed up
And people don't
at
start
7
becoming
o'clock
adults
in the
till they're
morning,
22, you know?
and he rang the doorbell in a limousine, tired, with these huge dreadlocks that, he didn't have when he left. And the first words out of his mouth was, "Papa, I made it." I think that was a very proud moment for him to show my dad that I had a purpose. I was determined to do this, and I did it successfully.
Jean-Michel loved movies and books and music. He had a wall full of videos. He was an
Breakfast at
avid reader.
Tiffany's.
Jean-Michel was a world traveler. He was a collector of various things, from other artists' works to baseball cards, and he just had so many different interests. Jean-Michel hung out a lot. It was kind of part of that time period. So he was at the Mud Club, he was at Aria, he was at the Palladium, and he was frequently at Mr. Chow and going to other art exhibits and galleries.
The fuck are these names, bro?
It was a fast-paced life. It was a partying life, and
Like Madonna,
it was fun.
Warhol.
If there was something that he was interested in, he dove right into it. Doing the runway in Paris for Comme des Garçons, being in a noise band, really kind of immersing himself in food and culture and travel, the DJing.
Rituals in Africa. I think Jean-Michel was really trying to break through the barrier and the constriction of the way that Black people were being portrayed at the time. It was like there was one story for every Black person at the time, where it was like a kid grows up in poverty, is exposed to
What is
certain
he looking
things.
for, man?
And he himself was a child of an immigrant father. And he grew up in a middle class and upper middle class lifestyle. And it frustrated him that there seemed to be this very singular way of looking at people living the Black experience. And he really wanted deeply to broaden that view. And I think he also was very clear about who he was as a Black man and the way that he portrayed himself
The
through
one with the
symbolism of
Rodney
the crown.
King beat him up
He
one.
knew that he
was
was
pretty
royalty. He
dope.
knew that he was valuable. His success also,
That
in a lot
painting.
of ways, took him outside of his circle and into another circle where he, in some ways, was alone. Jean-Michel was frustrated at times at having to defend.
This feels like a beginning documentary, but it's like mad short.
Not as much his work, because his work is phenomenal. What he did have to defend was himself. He had to defend his identity. He had to defend the image that people wanted to have, where they wanted to pigeonhole him into for example, being a Black artist. And he wanted to be seen as an artist. He wanted to be respected as an artist. He was very frustrated at the questions that would be posed to him. Like, I remember this one interview, and I don't remember who it was with, but he defended the fact that he was an artist in residence versus the way that he was being portrayed, that he was like this wild guy with dreadlocks
In the
in a
basement.
basement where they were like throwing food down to him. And so he was given this kind of dual
Just a wild dude in
role
dreads, man.
of introducing his artwork to the world
Shit.
and also having to
What?
defend his humanity.
The collaboration
Dude
show
cracks me up, bro.
between Jean-Michel and Andy Warhol, for whatever reason, received really negative press.
Bro, Andy Warhol just is like looking like a walking zombie, bro.
And
Shit's crazy.
the critics
He always tries to
were
be
not
so
kind
expressionless.
to the work and to Jean-Michel. And some of the words really dug deep for him and really affected him mentally. And he pulled away from a lot of people. He distanced himself from Andy. And then shortly after that, with Andy's passing, that really, really hit him hard. I
Rip
called
Warhol,
him
dude.
to express my condolences. He could really barely talk on the phone. And so I think those two things just had him at a place where he felt alone.
I think that that's probably one of the things that hurt the most, was that he was in that place and was feeling that way right around the time that he passed away. You know,
I wonder what like Basquiat would be making right now. You know, like he's not like a Da Vinci or you know a fucking a Van Gogh that's like you know hundreds of years away. Like Basquiat died in what, the 90s, the 80s, or whatever the fuck, and it's like what could he have been making right now? Like
for years afterwards,
fuck,
I would
bro.
think, you know, if he could have just, just kind of seen himself around that corner. He had a family, and we all loved each other very, very much, and we all still do. Ultimately, we lost a brother, and our parents lost a son, and that's very tough to live through.
Yeah, 80, 87.
It has been humbling and mind blowing to see people from all walks of life, from all over the world, who have all of these stories about their own struggles with their own identity, and then having discovered this artist named Jean-Michel Basquiat and what that did for
Should
them,
show you
or
guys
how
my
that has impacted them.
For
my
me,
self-portrait.
the best thing is knowing that Jean-Michel is
His
proud
artwork is so fucking fire.
and smiling and happy, and seeing that we are making sure that his voice is brought to a younger audience, and making sure that his work is being seen by those who may not have the opportunity to get to a museum, who may have never been to a museum,
That's
but
crazy.
are interested in seeing work of someone that looks like them.
Not going to museums blows my mind. Alright, that was pretty dope. I love Basquiat, so any type of like video like that, gotta watch it. Wait a second, let me get my self-portrait out. Somewhere here, bro. God damn it! This is me as a self portrait. Like it doesn't look like me. And then this is the one that's like inspired by Basquiat, and I did this painting on YouTube. Not this one, but the one that's inside here. Like this one. This one's the girl in the mountain, and I made like a bigger painting of her. But this is like it's another. See, they're like both kind of inspired by Basquiat. This one was fun, but I actually hate this one the most out of like all my paintings. This is the one I dislike the most. I don't know why. I think it was because like I did it. I redid it like 4 times or something. Like 3 or 4 times over 2 years. I think over 2 years. And I kind of want to do something over it now, but I probably won't fuck with it anymore since it's been like a solid year since I last messed with it. But yeah, it's good. That was awesome. I'll see you guys later.